Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. We have breaking news tonight. Maine Senate candidate Graham Platner has just suspended his campaign. We'll have that story in a moment. Also tonight, we're following the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. His family has now launched its own investigation after the 18-year-old died on a 4th of July boating trip. In a moment, we'll speak with the family's attorney, Ben Crump, about his personal investigation into what happened. And the U.S. has launched more strikes against Iran. This comes after the U.S. launched dozens of strikes yesterday, accusing Iran of attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. But first to that breaking news, Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Platner is stepping aside after weeks of controversy. Here's what he said in a video posted tonight.
We are suspending campaign operations. This is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not. We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power.
Let's bring in Jay O'Brien, who's in Washington, D.C. So, Jay, we just showed a portion of the clip there. But what rationale does he have for suspending his campaign in this time?
Well, Lindsay, it comes after a long string of controversies for the Platner campaign that really came to a head this week. So on Monday, remember, an ex-girlfriend of Graham Platner's spoke to Politico and then other outlets and accused him of sexual assault. Platner has denied those accusations. He did it again in the video where he announced that he was suspending his campaign. But that began this groundswell of pressure that Platner started to face, including from top allies like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, who campaigned for Graham Platner, who endorsed him, who elevated his profile. But that pressure was telling Platner to get out of the race. Today, we started to get inklings that there were some forms of negotiation and even some infighting between the Platner campaign and the Maine Democratic Party. The Maine Democratic Party was accusing the Platner campaign of trying to put its thumb on the scale with the process of picking a replacement. The Platner campaign was saying that they wanted their volunteers and supporters to have a voice here, but it became clear that there was some form of an exit strategy crystallizing. And then, of course, Graham Platner tonight in that video that you just played a section of saying, quote, I'm going to read from it, "We believe that for the movement to continue," and then he gets emotional at this interval. He says, quote, "It can't be me. For that reason, we are suspending campaign operations." Lindsay.
And what's also interesting, I just want to quote another portion. He said, "I learned about this process through press inquiries with no time to truly respond, no time for investigations before a corporate media system and the political establishment got to act as judge, jury, and executioner. Accusations are supposed to be the beginning of things, not the end." I know you've had a chance to talk to a number of lawmakers who called for Platner to step down. What have they been telling you?
Well, first and foremost, Lindsay, if Platner posts this 11-minute video to the point that you just made, and most of the video is refuting the allegations that have been made against him, saying that they are not true. And then just towards the end of the video, does he say that he's suspending his campaign? But it comes, to your point, after this long string of scandals that Platner had endured. There was another ex-girlfriend who accused him of physical abuse, which he has denied. Platner acknowledged sending sexually explicit text messages to multiple women after he was first married in 2023. There were also questions swirling around an image tattooed on his chest that appeared to be a Nazi symbol. Platner says he got it drunkenly on leave with other Marines. He's a Marine combat veteran in 2007, and that he had it covered up. He didn't realize its significance at the time that he got it. All of that to say, Democrats largely stuck by Platner through these series of controversies. And I didn't even name every single controversy that his campaign faced. But ultimately, it was that allegation of sexual assault on Monday, which again, Platner denies, that really began these Democrats starting to break with him and led to this moment.
Platner was wildly popular with voters. He received more than 70% of the vote in the primary there. Is there any obvious replacement for him on the Democratic ticket?
I mean, that's the open question here, Lindsay. We know as of tonight that the Maine State Democratic Party has said it's going to hold a convention to choose Platner's replacement. Platner had to drop out of this race legally by Monday in order for his name to be removed from the ballot. So he dropped out before that deadline, or he actually hasn't filed the paperwork as far as we're aware, but he says he intends to drop out before that deadline. Now the Maine State Democratic Party has a little over 2 weeks before the last Monday of the month month to choose Platner's replacement. Again, they say they're going to do it through a convention. There are 5 or so candidates who have expressed interest in taking over for him. But other than those deadlines that I mentioned, the exact roadmap for how this is supposed to be done is not spelled out in Maine law. It is up to the state Democratic Party. They're going to have a lot of say about how this process plays out, Lindsay.
In just a short period of time. All right, Jay O'Brien, our thanks to you as always. And we move on now. The Pentagon says that the U.S. has launched strikes against Iran tonight as efforts to end the war hang in the balance. This all comes after the U.S. launched dozens of strikes yesterday, accusing Iran of attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran itself is not standing down, saying that it targeted U.S. military installations in Bahrain and Kuwait. Sirens sounding tonight in both countries. Kuwaiti air defenses say that they're currently confronting hostile missile and drone attacks. President Trump is now heading back to the United States after a whirlwind trip to Turkey for the NATO summit, where he said that he thinks the truce with Iran is over. Our senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is in Turkey, where the NATO summit just concluded.
Tonight, as the U.S. launches a new attack on Iran, the second in 24 hours, President Trump now declaring the ceasefire over.
I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo.
The new U.S. strikes hitting Iran's coastal radar sites and anti-ship missile locations. A larger attack than last night when 80 targets were hit. It comes in response to Iran firing on 3 cargo ships near the Strait of Hormuz. The big question, what comes next? Overnight, Iran launching missiles at U.S. bases in the Gulf. Those missiles intercepted. The Pentagon releasing video of more than 20 Navy warships patrolling waters near the Middle East. President Trump today sending mixed signals, first saying he would let peace talks continue, then a few hours later saying this.
I'm not sure I want to make a deal with them. We can play games, but I'm not sure I want to make a deal. Let's just finish the job.
And tonight, the calm has been shattered in the oil markets. Gas prices for Americans set to go up. The president asks, are we about to see full-blown war again?
No, I don't think it's going to start again. I think it's going to go very quickly. They hit a couple of ships, and so we hit them much harder. When they hit, we hit, you know?
Quite a different story from just a few days ago. Rachel joins us now from Turkey. Rachel, amid this escalation with Iran and rising oil prices, there are also questions about the new Air Force One and why it left Turkey tonight without the president.
Yeah, this new Air Force One was a gift from Qatar. The United States spent millions of dollars retrofitting the plane, and the president has been touting it. So it was a surprise when this plane left Turkey without the president and headed to the United Kingdom. President Trump said it was to give troops stationed there an opportunity to view the plane. But tonight, there are new questions about whether security concerns ultimately played a factor. The president did later leave Turkey on board an older model of Air Force One, Lindsay.
Rachel Scott from Turkey for us. Thanks so much, Rachel. The family of Nolan Wells has now launched their own investigation after the 18-year-old college student died on a 4th of July boating trip with friends. Now authorities are asking for the public's help as they investigate the mysterious death. Our Alex Perez has the latest.
An urgent investigation to determine how 18-year-old Nolan Wells died on a boating trip with friends off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. As they await the results of the official autopsy, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office wants to hear from anyone who was on Horn Island over the 4th of July weekend.
I would urge anyone that had information or was on the island to let us interview you and take down as much information as we can to really piece together and figure out what may have happened.
Authorities say Wells' friends left the island and he stayed behind and was supposed to take a different boat back to the mainland Saturday, but never did. After a desperate search, Wells' body was found off the shore Monday. Investigators say they have no information at this time to indicate a crime was committed. And this morning, for the first time, we're seeing and hearing from Wells, who spoke with our affiliate WLOX on the day he signed to play college football.
It's truly a blessing, just being here with some of my best friends, teammates, and we're all going to college together, most of us, so it's just truly a blessing to be here.
His high school coach saying Wells was much more than an outstanding football player and that he carried himself with humility, treated others with respect, worked hard, and led by example.
Our thanks to Alex Perez for that. Joining us now is attorney Ben Crump, who's representing Nolan Wells' family. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Crump. Just from where you sit, what are the biggest unanswered questions so far about this case?
obviously the biggest question is what happened to Nolan Wells. I think the reason this case has caught such fire is because they see the pictures, they see the video, and they're saying, hold on, you're trying to tell us just accept this an accident and sweep it under the rug? His mother, Christine, his father, Elmo, say, no, they will not allow that to happen. His friends, his community. I mean, he was a good kid. He was beloved. He was a college athlete. He had everything going for him. And so to go on that island for 4th of July celebration and then not to come back is what is concerning everybody, especially when you hear the contradictions.
And you're conducting your own investigation. How will that differ from what the authorities are doing?
Well, one thing, we're trying to be very transparent because the family has some concerns about the state of Mississippi doing an investigation of the death of a young black man where young white students may be looked at as having some culpability. So the family is concerned about that. So we're going to have an independent autopsy. We have investigators talking to witnesses that have no alignment or no allegiance to the state. And that's important, Lindsay. When you think about Mississippi and the history of Mississippi, you know, this is the state where Emmett Till was lynched.
The Wells family, Nolan's parents, how are they coping in this moment?
Lindsay, they are in disbelief. They are in disbelief. You know, Nolan was to report back on Monday after the 4th of July to his college. That's when fall practice started. He did phenomenal. He was looking forward to getting an NIL deal with Division I football. He had everything going for himself, and his family just can't believe that he's gone. His mother, Christina, is in constant depression, but my baby is gone. His father's trying to be strong, but obviously he's trying to explain to Nolan's younger brothers and sisters, what happened, Daddy? What happened?
Can you clarify for us what was going on with his cell phone?
Yeah, and that's something that's really troubling to his family as well. You know, the guys on the boat, they said Nolan stayed, but they took his cell phone. That's not adding up to them. The fact that then when the family gets the cell phone back, Lindsay, they're saying they are trying to understand why they're deleted messages. And so it's very concerning to them.
And we know that Nolan was a great athlete on the football field. Do we have any sense of how comfortable he was around water and boats?
You know, his father said he was an elite athlete, that he prided himself on his physical prowess. He said that his son could swim, and so they're just not accepting that Nolan drowned accidentally.
Beyond the headlines, have the Wells family said how they would like Nolan to be remembered?
Yeah, everybody, not only his parents, but the whole community, his teachers, his coaches, the people at his college, they're saying he was just a great guy, always trying to be supportive, be encouraging, wanted to make the world a better place. His mother talked about his smile, and she's like, she doesn't know when she's ever going to smile again.
Mr. Crump, we thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lindsay.
There are new questions about the mystery surrounding a Pakistani cargo jet. The 737 plunged at 22,000 feet per minute with 5 crew members on board. Authorities found the wreckage, and now they're trying to figure out just what happened. Our Gio Benitez covers aviation and has the latest.
Tonight, the first pieces of wreckage found just 12 hours after a cargo jet suddenly disappeared from radar over the Arabian Sea. 5 crew members still missing amid serious questions about what caused the plane to go down so abruptly. The Boeing 737 flying from the United Arab Emirates to Karachi, Pakistan late Tuesday with 5 crew members on board, but an hour into the flight, the pilot reporting problems with the plane's navigation system.
Yeah,
3 minutes later, the aircraft seen on radar showing a loss of altitude, followed by a climb, and then suddenly descending rapidly at a pace of 22,000 feet per minute.
The last few seconds of the flight of this aircraft were unusual. Wild oscillations, climbs, descents, and then just prior to impact, a very steep, very high-speed dive hitting the water.
Air traffic control losing contact.
How do you read? This is Karachi Control on guard. Do you read?
It will be the black box that solves this mystery, but they're going to look at things like night, weather, was maintenance done on the aircraft, was there spatial disorientation, or perhaps was this deliberate?
The search for that crucial black box now underway. And Lindsay, the flight's operator, K2 Airways, says they're cooperating with authorities and praying for the safety of their colleagues. Lindsay.
Gio, thank you. Now to the latest from a deadly ICE shooting in Houston. ICE claims that the man, a Mexican national, rammed an officer's vehicle. The man's family is now speaking out. Our John Quinones has the latest.
Tonight, growing outrage in Houston after a man was fatally shot by an ICE agent after officials claimed he rammed a federal vehicle during an attempted arrest. Video from a passing car shows Lorenzo Salgado Araujo handcuffed as he laid bleeding and groaning on the ground, surrounded by agents. He later died at the hospital. His son fighting back tears as he recalled the moment he learned his dad had been shot.
I saw a video posted on Facebook that he had been shot. I recognized him immediately. Not from his appearance, but from his voice, crying for help as he lay on the street, bleeding out.
Homeland Security says Araujo was in the country illegally, that he weaponized his vehicle and was shot after he refused to follow commands. The family says he was a Mexican national in the U.S. for 35 years and was close to obtaining his legal status. The president of Mexico says she's considering legal measures, adding, "We cannot allow the mistreatment of our fellow Mexicans in the United States." Araujo's family says he was on his way to the construction job that helped him put 3 sons, all U.S. citizens, through college.
He did not deserve to die. He did not deserve to be reduced to a headline of Mexican man shot and killed by ICE. He deserved to live a quiet life as Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, a husband, a father, and a job creator for dozens of men who also wanted the American dream.
That's right.
And Lindsay, tonight, the family and civil rights organizations are calling for a full investigation into this shooting. The FBI says it's handling this case as a potential assault on a law enforcement officer. Lindsay?
John Quinones for us, thank you. We have breaking news out of Pikesville, Maryland. Authorities say 28 people were injured after a bus crashed into a building. 1 person is in critical condition. Emergency responders have requested a medevac helicopter and a shock trauma GO team assist with the response. We'll bring you more details as the story develops. Here in New York City, construction teams are racing to stabilize a building that officials had feared could collapse. The mayor has promised a full investigation into what happened. Our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky, has the latest.
24 hours after that urgent evacuation over fears of a 37-story building coming down in Midtown Manhattan, at least 9 buildings cleared out, including hotels and a school. Tonight, construction teams working around the clock to stabilize that high-rise that had been at risk of a partial collapse. The city releasing these new images today of emergency shoring columns next to a bent steel support.
They're going to be working through the day to get all the way up to the roof.
Construction workers installed these trusses on 8 separate floors of the former Pfizer headquarters that's now being converted into apartments. The developer added several residential floors on top and has said the columns likely could not handle the extra weight, telling the New York Times this incident is nothing more than a typical construction mishap. But crews inside that building were alarmed when they saw beams bending, windows breaking, and concrete starting to crumble. Tonight, the mayor is promising a full investigation.
As soon as we answer the emergency questions around safety in this moment, we are going to be conducting a full investigation as to how we got to this point.
Officials say the building is now stable. Evacuated buildings and nearby streets are starting to reopen. Lindsay, East 42nd Street here in front of the building is now back open, and you can see some of those emergency trusses waiting to be loaded inside. Tonight, the developer says they've identified the problem and a clear plan to fix it, but the city says it still needs to know how this failure occurred and who may need to be held accountable. Lindsay?
Our thanks to Aaron Katursky. Coming up, self-driven right into custody, the Waymo that delivered teens causing chaos directly to authorities, and surprises, snubs, and first-time nominees. The Emmy nominations are here. Did your favorite show make the cut, or was it left off the board? Variety Chief Awards Editor Clayton Davis joins us next. Welcome back, everyone. Nominations were announced today for the 78th Annual Primetime Emmy Awards. The awards will be hosted by Mariska Hargitay and take place in September. Let's take a look at this year's nominations by the numbers. The Pit was a big winner in the drama categories. Last year, this time, they led all shows with a staggering 25 total nominations. Of that haul, 13 were acting nominations, including for Noah Wyle, Catherine Lanessa, and Sean Hattasey, who each won Emmys last year. 4 of the Pit's nominations were just in the supporting actress in a drama series category alone. Hacks, which recently ended its 5-season run, led all comedies with 24 nominations, the most ever in a single year for a comedy series. And once again, Jean Smart is up for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. She's won that category 4 of the last 5 Emmys. Some people received multiple nominations for different projects. Jason Bateman has 4 total nominations for his work on DTF, St. Louis, and Black Rabbit. But there are also a lot of new faces. 28 performers are up for Emmys for the first time ever this year. Also notable this year, the late Rob Reiner received a posthumous nomination in the Outstanding Guest Actor in a Comedy Series category for his role in The Bear. Interestingly, this is his first acting nomination since 1978 for All in the Family. And for a look at more of the surprises and snubs, Variety Chief Awards Editor, Mr. Clayton Davis, is back with us. Clayton, so you gave us your predictions yesterday. What are the biggest shockers for you this year?
The biggest one, hands down, probably in my lifetime, Your Friends and Neighbors sneaking into that drama series category. It's one and only nomination. It's the first show ever to get a drama series nom and not get anything else outside of that. But nothing else outside of that really surprised many of us. The Pit led the day. 13 acting nominations, as you said before, one short of the all-time acting record that Succession had set about 4 years ago. Pluribus did really well with 18. Looking on the comedy side, Nobody Wants Us did end up making the cut, but Widow's Bay flex in a way that I wasn't even expecting. 19 nominations for that freshman series. And Hacks, I know, did break the all-time record for comedy series 1 year after the studio did it last year, which also happened 1 year after The Bear did it the year before that. But I'm seeing this as a real death match between Hacks and Widow's Bay. And I kind of think Widow's Bay might actually pull it off in the end. A horror comedy, it hit at the right time. I think it's actually doing really well.
And there were so many major snubs in the acting categories. Which were some that stand out?
So I looked everywhere for Michelle Pfeiffer for the Madison. Taylor Sheridan shows just are not the Academy's cup of tea. I think we can just kind of say that now. Jamie Bell missing for Half Man. Richard Gadd came off 2 years ago sweeping the Emmys for Baby Reindeer. Half Man was not really embraced. That was a huge surprise. Look for Meryl Streep's daughter, Grace Gummer from Love Story. She was missing, although her co-star Constance Zimmer did make the cut. Naomi Watts obviously did not. And I was looking for a lot of the people from The Bear. Io Edeberry did make the cut, but no Jeremy Allen White, no Ebon Moss-Bachrach, no John Bernthal. So their perfect streaks, all these seasons running has come to an end. They have one more season for next year, but that did surprise many of us.
And some of the categories that saw the biggest shakeups, reality TV, both reality TV competition program and outstanding unstructured reality program. What was different this year?
The Amazing Race, for the first time in reality competition program history, is not there. Instead, Dancing with the Stars made the cut. And I'm very interested in this aspect. Dancing with the Stars moved from ABC to Hulu a few years ago. And I wonder if that really has helped get it right back on the map. But it's going to take on Survivor, which just celebrated its 50th season, and last year's winner, The Traitors. Unstructured, listen, all my Bravo heads out there, we have won. Summer House is nominated. All this controversy has really taken the internet by storm, and it's really interesting to see the Emmys react to that because Vanderpump Rules during the Scandal debacle, they recognized it, and now we have Summer House. And Ariana Madix, by the way, getting into competition hosts for Love is Blind was actually a real big shocker over Phil Keoghan, who's won that category a dozen times, it feels like.
And we are going to have Lindsay Hubbard and Kyle Cook on from Summer House tomorrow. Clayton, I wish we had more time because I really want to get your picks for winners, but we'll do it. We'll do it in advance of the Emmys. So thank you so much for joining us, Clayton. Coming up.
Thanks for having me, Lindsay.
Of course, always appreciate your time. The new Women's Pro Baseball League has revealed the teams that will take part in its upcoming inaugural season, and how Garth Brooks is fighting rising ticket prices for his upcoming tour. Welcome back to Prime. Here's a look at the stories making headlines right now. The U.S. has launched a new round of airstrikes against Iran tonight, signaling further collapse of the ceasefire agreement. The attacks come after the U.S. accused Iran of attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump, who was in Turkey today for the NATO summit, said that the U.S. might reimpose its naval blockade against Iran, but that he's still interested in reaching a peace agreement with Tehran. An Idaho mom is now charged with murdering her 18-month-old twins last year. According to authorities, Andrea Shaw made claims that her toddlers died after being vaccinated, claims that have been backed by the controversial anti-vaccine group Children's Health Defense, which was previously led by Health Secretary RFK Jr. But a grand jury indictment now alleges Shaw suffocated the children. She faces life in prison or the death penalty if convicted. The mystery surrounding Mitch McConnell's health continues to swirl. The Republican Kentucky senator has been hospitalized since June 14th for undisclosed reasons. Democratic Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear has requested more transparency on the senator's condition. Country star Garth Brooks announced his Blame It All on My Roots tour, marking a return to the arena venues that helped make him one of country music's biggest touring stars. And fans may get a kick out of this. Every seat on the tour will cost the same price, $154, regardless of location. The tour kicks off in Indianapolis, August 21st. Still ahead, as our Jay O'Brien discovers in our continuing America 250 coverage, there's no shortage of Americans who feel dressing and reenacting colonial events is the best way to both keep history alive and guide us toward a better, more united future. And FIFA announces the roster of singing superstars who will perform at the World Cup final halftime show. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. As we continue to celebrate America's 250th anniversary, we head to Boston. The city was the site of the spark of the rebellion, from the Boston Tea Party to Paul Revere's ride. But behind these extraordinary stories were everyday people fighting for what they thought was right. ABC's Jay O'Brien takes us through history by following the footsteps of our country's founders.
To the front! March!
These men are getting ready to start a revolution.
We're marching with the Minutemen.
We haven't traveled back in time. These are reenactors who dedicated their lives to bringing the moments that shaped this country to life.
Close to the front.
We met in the exact spot of the famous first shots of the Revolutionary War, Lexington and Concord, just outside Boston. This is where America was first forged in fire, where Massachusetts militiamen received an order they'd never heard before to shoot back at the Redcoats.
And the colonists, you see it there, are ordered to return fire, and that order, those are the first shots of the revolution.
An act of defiance that would change history, what Ralph Waldo Emerson dubbed the shot heard round the world.
July 4th, 1776 happens because of this.
Park Ranger Bob Marchetta now carries out the legacy of those Revolutionary Minutemen. Serving 24 years in the Army, his old unit can trace its roots back to this battlefield.
And if you can put yourself in those footsteps of the people that were physically here, the power of place.
There is a special meaning.
There's a special meaning to it.
A historic responsibility they take seriously here, too, at Colonial Williamsburg in Virginia.
Do you know what this is?
Where we found 7-year-old Josephine Goodrich deep in conversation with the Marquis de Lafayette.
We can look at a map.
Real name, Mark Schneider, who works here as what's called a historical interpreter.
Is it fun to be here?
Josephine's parents, Elizabeth and Riley, drove 8 hours from Kentucky to Williamsburg with their 4 daughters just for this moment.
I think that it's really important for the kids to be able to envision and remember what life used to be like and how that makes us who we are today.
A feeling I've had before. That's me, at 5 years old, a budding history nerd who begged my parents to drive 9 hours from Connecticut to Colonial Williamsburg as a birthday present.
Hi.
Back as an adult, it's the attention to detail here that jumps out the most and transports you from 2026 to 1776. Reenactors and historical interpreters will tell you it's sometimes easier discussing the most uncomfortable issues of our current time with someone pretending to live 250 years ago. We met Catherine Pittman right before she was set to go out on stage as Martha Washington, taking hard audience questions on everything from the role women played in founding the nation to the people enslaved by this nation's first family.
Martha Washington was a slave?
She was. But if I can talk about it with honesty and openness, and a guest can get as uncomfortable as I am when I research it, then I've had an effect on you. You know, the mission statement of our foundation is that the future may learn from the past. And so we have the past, we got it. But if those children sitting out amongst us can find just something to remember when they're 4 or 9 years old, and
you can change the future.
You can change the future.
Their descendants are still
Stephen Seals has had long, deep conversations with guests about race while portraying James Lafayette.
We hold these truths to be as self-evident that all men are created equal.
A man born into slavery who won his freedom as a spy for the Continental Army.
What is it like for you to portray and uplift the voice of a black person living in 18th century America?
It is the most important thing I've ever done in my life, and the most fulfilling. I get to see every single time I do an audience just how much people are not changed, but just how much people shift to widen their understanding.
We are here in Williamsburg.
But does the next generation care enough to carry on the American story? The answer might be in my hometown, Wethersfield, Connecticut, a community founded in 1634, older than America itself. We're here to meet the 23 young people in the Colonel John Chester Fife and Drum Corps.
I feel like I'm traveling back in time, especially in uniform.
That you're traveling back in time.
But it's the music that really transforms this school parking lot into what feels like an 18th century military camp.
I think that getting to learn history through the aspect of music is so special. Fife was my first instrument. It's not just like a normal instrument that you learn at school. The fife has been along for such a long time.
17-year-old Zoe, 19-year-old Kai, and 9-year-old Jacob practiced the same instruments and the same marches used by George Washington's army.
These songs, some of them were used as commands on the battlefield.
Before we left, the Corps had one more surprise for us, the national anthem. Each note a reminder that our history is human. And it's on all of us to keep it alive. From those firing muskets in the rain, to the men and women spending an extra moment in the Virginia summer sun, to these kids playing in uniform as the sun sets on a school night.
Court dismissed.
Our thanks to Joe Bryan for that history lesson. Coming up, what happens when a self-driving car turns its own passengers into the police? We'll tell you all about it. And the revival of Whoopi Goldberg's original one-woman Broadway show from the 1980s is being revived for a third time on Broadway with a star-studded cast. We'll talk to Whoopi and the actors who are bringing her original characters to life. Teenagers get turned into the police by a driverless car. A passenger is suing United over a window seat, and a new singer is added to the World Cup final halftime show. These stories and much more in tonight's rundown. A self-driving car turned its teenage occupants into police. Officers say the interior cameras caught the two 15-year-olds drinking and shooting from the vehicle. Waymo then called the police in San Mateo, California. Police officers stopped the car and found the teens with alcohol and a gun that shoots water beads. A police statement says while their actions were not good ideas, at least the kids had the sense to use a Waymo because driving while impaired would have made this much worse. A day at the beach took a dangerous turn. Two exhausted snorkelers were rescued after a powerful current swept them away from shore. It happened at Florida's Destin East Pass in Florida's Panhandle. Deputies spotted the pair waving for help. After pulling them to safety from the close call, the officers reminded them and us to never underestimate rip currents. A judge in California has denied United Airlines' request to dismiss a lawsuit over window seats. A passenger's lawsuit claims that they were sold a window seat, but that seat did not include a window. United argues that window seat refers to a seat's location in relation to an aisle. The judge denied the dismissal request, so the lawsuit can continue. No comment from United. It's the boarding school socialite Paris Hilton spent years fighting to close. Now authorities in Utah announced they will revoke the license of Provo Canyon School's campus for girls, a facility where parents send troubled teens. Investigators say they found video of a staff member hitting a child and a pattern of health and safety violations. The campus is now ordered to end all services by next month. Hilton says she was beaten, forcibly medicated, and locked in solitary confinement at the facility when she was a teenager. In 2024, she testified before Congress and helped get new laws passed to reform schools for troubled teens. The school says it's considering an appeal, saying our priority remains providing safe, high-quality care and support for adolescents and their families. Can you believe it? Justin Bieber is joining the FIFA World Cup final halftime show as a co-headliner. Bieber will be joined alongside Madonna, Shakira, BTS, and others for the halftime performance on July 19th at New York, New Jersey Stadium. Proceeds for the halftime show will go toward the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund. New details for the Women's Pro Baseball League's inaugural season set to begin August 1st. Kelsey Whitmore, the star pitcher who was the first overall pick in the WPBL's draft, will play for the San Francisco Fireballs. Monet Davis, the history-making former Little League sensation, will play center field for the Los Angeles Queens, along with veteran Japanese pitcher Ayami Sato. Other teams include the New York Heights and the Boston Hunters. Before she starred in The Color Purple, Ghost, or Sister Act, Whoopi Goldberg wrote and starred in a one-woman show. The characters she portrayed on stage in 1983 were not only seen as groundbreaking then, but they're still relevant today. Now, 5 actresses are recreating the Whoopi monologues, including Kerry Washington, Danielle Pinnock, and Kara Young. Our Juju Chang caught up with the performers, the show's director, and Whoopi to find out how they're bringing the trailblazing play to life for a whole new generation.
Whoopi, ladies, hello. This is like the Black Mount Rushmore of excellence. Whoopi, I cannot believe it's been 40 years since the Whoopi monologues. And it not only launched your career and showcased your genius, but now it's taking 5 actresses to embody your one-woman show. What's that like watching these women take your voice and introduce it to a new audience, a new generation?
I haven't seen any of it. I have not. I didn't want to. I wanted this to be theirs. So each of them has their character, and they will make them theirs, and that's. So I've not really been involved.
And that's theater, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interpretation.
Yeah.
Whitney, you weren't even born in 1984 when she first performed this.
I don't think anybody was really. 10 minutes. 10 minutes before 1984. She was born. Yeah.
But it was considered groundbreaking, bold back then. Yeah. And yet it's still fresh. The issues are still there. What do you want to dig into as the director?
I want to dig into the themes of identity and humanity and belonging. And also the writing, the playwriting is incredible. It's stellar. I direct a lot of plays. I've been very fortunate to be able to premiere a lot of work in New York, and this stands up to anything else I've ever done. And experiencing Whoopi Goldberg's authorial voice has been such a gift to me, and I'm excited for audiences to dive into her world.
Carrie, your production company, Simpson Street, is helping this reimagination come to life. You've told stories about being an 8-year-old and rocking around, imitating her and swearing.
Yes, I mean for art, for the sake of art. My parents would let me quote the material in all of its brilliance because they understood that on the other side of those swear words was this incredible exploration of humanity. And my love for the show really helped my parents understand why I loved storytelling, why I loved connecting our hearts with each other through story, through theater. So I'm so grateful to have the parents I have who let me watch this and let me dream about carving out my own path in the way that Whoopi has carved out her path, but she's really laid the groundwork for all of us. So to be able to do this for her is so cool.
It is homage.
Cause we're going to get on the Love Boat, but you gotta have long hair to get on the Love Boat.
I mean, Danielle, forget it. You were like a twinkle in somebody's eye, and yet you watched these performances.
Oh yes.
What resonates with you? Tell me how you watch them and how it resonates.
Well, first of all, I was a chubby girl from Jersey with bifocals and 3-piece suits. I looked like Maxine Waters and Steve Harvey's love child. And I was wondering if there was a place for me in the arts. And so I was a big library girl, and I would take the 167Q bus to Lincoln Center Library, and I would watch Whoopi's monologues every single weekend, and I was just like, wow, there's a place for me too in this industry. And when I say that she is my North Star, she really is. And so it is an honor to have a seat at this table with all of these incredible women.
So powerful.
It's constant, live and learn. Never get over that. Not even a junkie.
And now, Cara, I mean, I talked about the Mount Rushmore. You made history as the first back-to-back Tony Award winner as a black female and performer. And yet, I mean, when you look at Whoopi's characters, when you think of the surfer girl and the PhD drug addict and the Jamaican lady, what strikes you about these characters as they play on stage, and which one do you play?
I have the honor of stepping into the spirit of Fontaine, a junkie with a PhD, and an incredibly wise human being, a person that is of the streets, you know, in New York City. This is a New Yorker. These are people that I saw growing up, and people that I still see, you know, but people that I acknowledge as well. And I think that the writing specifically Fontaine, is a introspection into the people who we do not pay attention to, and we don't know their histories, we don't know what they know, and yet we ignore, yet we keep on moving, we keep it moving. But there's an incredible humanity to Fontaine, not only that Fontaine is seeking, but to really see inside of Fontaine's heart and spirit and soul that I'm digging into, you know, day after day. But when I look at all of the characters that Whoopi has put together, these incredibly remarkable, resilient people, it's an homage to blackness in a beautiful way.
From one very fertile brain.
Right? Truly.
I mean, these characters, you were an underground comedian, a struggling single mom. This is your origin story in many ways.
You know, the thing about all of these characters is that they could, because I played them, they all look like black folks, but they're not. You know, they'll look like whoever you are as you hear them talk. Because these stories belong in every household. You hear the surfer chick, you know, she's your kid. She's your kid, and you don't want her to have that same ending, but you recognize her.
Whitney, I'm curious, you know, on some level, you're also an actor. You've been directing as well. Where does your career go from here?
I mean, because of Whoopi Goldberg, it could go anywhere. That's possible, and that's the point of this. Is she was and is a multi-hyphenate, carving out space for herself in the world as an author, a producer, a performer, all these things. And ironically, every member of our cast, even our wonderful cast members who are not here right now, Dominique and Keisha, they're also multi-hyphenates. So the piece is asking you to see the black black female body in infinite ways. And so I feel a little bit more hopeful now that I've gotten to be a part of this, because maybe the dreams that I've had that so many people have told me I don't deserve to have, maybe I get to have them because Whoopi Goldberg had hers.
Wow. Ladies, thank you so much. Not that we needed any reminding, but you are a genius. And it's really wonderful to see you guys pull it together in this way. Thank you.
Come see us.
Of course.
So much genius in that room. Our thanks to Juju Chang for that. You can see the Whoopi monologues on stage at Lincoln Center Theater in New York. That is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Have a great night. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. We have breaking news tonight. Maine Senate candidate Graham Platner has just suspended his campaign. We'll have that story in a moment. Also tonight, we're following the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. His family has now launched its own investigation after the 18-year-old died on a 4th of July boating trip. In a moment, we'll speak with the family's attorney, Ben Crump, about his personal investigation into what happened. And the U.S. has launched more strikes against Iran. This comes after the U.S. launched dozens of strikes yesterday, accusing Iran of attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. But first to that breaking news, Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Platner is stepping aside after weeks of controversy. Here's what he said in a video posted tonight.
We are suspending campaign operations. This is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not. We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power.
Let's bring in Jay O'Brien, who's in Washington, D.C. So, Jay, we just showed a portion of the clip there. But what rationale does he have for suspending his campaign in this time?
Well, Lindsay, it comes after a long string of controversies for the Platner campaign that really came to a head this week. So on Monday, remember, an ex-girlfriend of Graham Platner's spoke to Politico and then other outlets and accused him of sexual assault. Platner has denied those accusations. He did it again in the video where he announced that he was suspending his campaign. But that began this groundswell of pressure that Platner started to face, including from top allies like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, who campaigned for Graham Platner, who endorsed him, who elevated his profile. But that pressure was telling Platner to get out of the race. Today, we started to get inklings that there were some forms of negotiation and even some infighting between the Platner campaign and the Maine Democratic Party. The Maine Democratic Party was accusing the Platner campaign of trying to put its thumb on the scale with the process of picking a replacement. The Platner campaign was saying that they wanted their volunteers and supporters to have a voice here, but it became clear that there was some form of an exit strategy crystallizing. And then, of course, Graham Platner tonight in that video that you just played a section of saying, quote, I'm going to read from it, "We believe that for the movement to continue," and then he gets emotional at this interval. He says, quote, "It can't be me. For that reason, we are suspending campaign operations." Lindsay.
And what's also interesting, I just want to quote another portion. He said, "I learned about this process through press inquiries with no time to truly respond, no time for investigations before a corporate media system and the political establishment got to act as judge, jury, and executioner. Accusations are supposed to be the beginning of things, not the end." I know you've had a chance to talk to a number of lawmakers who called for Platner to step down. What have they been telling you?
Well, first and foremost, Lindsay, Platner posts this 11-minute video to the point that you just made, and most of the video is refuting the allegations that have been made against him, saying that they are not true. And then just towards the end of the video does he say that he's suspending his campaign. But it comes, to your point, after this long string of scandals that Platner had endured. There was another ex-girlfriend who accused him of physical abuse, which he has denied. Platner acknowledged sending sexually explicit text messages to multiple women after he was first married in 2023. There were also questions swirling around an image tattooed on his chest that appeared to be a Nazi symbol. Platner says he got it drunkenly on leave with other Marines. He's a Marine combat veteran in 2007, and that he had it covered up. He didn't realize its significance at the time that he got it. All of that to say, Democrats largely stuck by Platner through these series of controversies. And I didn't even name every single controversy that his campaign faced. But ultimately, it was that allegation of sexual assault on Monday, which again, Platner denies, that really began these Democrats starting to break with him and led to this moment.
Platner was wildly popular with voters. He received more than 70% of the vote in the primary there. Is there any obvious replacement for him on the Democratic ticket?
I mean, that's the open question here, Lindsay. We know as of tonight that the Maine State Democratic Party has said it's going to hold a convention to choose Platner's replacement. Platner had to drop out of this race legally by Monday in order for his name to be removed from the ballot. So he dropped out before that deadline, or he actually hasn't filed the paperwork as far as we're aware, but he says he intends to drop out before that deadline. Now the Maine State Democratic Party has a little over 2 weeks before the last Monday of the month to choose Platner's replacement. Again, they say they're going to do it through a convention. There are 5 or so candidates who have expressed interest in taking over for him. But other than those deadlines that I mentioned, the exact roadmap for how this is supposed to be done is not spelled out in Maine law. It is up to the state Democratic Party. They're going to have a lot of say about how this process plays out, Lindsay.
In just a short period of time. All right, Jay O'Brien, our thanks to you as always. And we move on now. The Pentagon says that the U.S. has launched strikes against Iran tonight as efforts to end the war hang in the balance. This all comes after the U.S. launched dozens of strikes yesterday, accusing Iran of attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran itself is not standing down, saying that it targeted U.S. military installations in Bahrain and Kuwait. Sirens sounding tonight in both countries. Kuwaiti air defenses say that they're currently confronting hostile missile and drone attacks. President Trump is now heading back to the United States after a whirlwind trip to Turkey for the NATO summit, where he said that he thinks the truce with Iran is over. Our senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is in Turkey, where the NATO summit just concluded.
Tonight, as the U.S. launches a new attack on Iran, the second in 24 hours, President Trump now declaring the ceasefire over.
I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo.
The new U.S. strikes hitting Iran's coastal radar sites and anti-ship missile locations. A larger attack than last night, when 80 targets were hit. It comes in response to Iran firing on 3 cargo ships near the Strait of Hormuz. The big question, what comes next? Overnight, Iran launching missiles at U.S. bases in the Gulf. Those missiles intercepted. The Pentagon releasing video of more than 20 Navy warships patrolling waters near the Middle East. President Trump today sending mixed signals, first saying he would let peace talks continue, then a few hours later saying this.
I'm not sure I want to make a deal with them. We can play games, but I'm not sure I want to make a deal. Let's just finish the job.
And tonight, the calm has been shattered in the oil markets. Gas prices for Americans set to go up. The president asks, are we about to see full-blown war again?
No, I don't think it's going to start again. I think it's going to go very quickly. They hit a couple of ships, and so we hit them much harder. When they hit, we hit, you know.
President Trump announced that he will remove Syria from the State Department's state sponsors of terrorism list. Trump made the announcement while sitting next to Syria's president at the NATO summit. Syria has been on the list since 1979 and has remained on it since then. Syria had the longest designation for any country on the list. The country was placed on the list because of the former al-Assad regime's historical support for designated terrorist groups. The death toll is climbing in Venezuela tonight, 2 weeks to the day after twin earthquakes rocked the country. At least 3,600 people are known to have died, but thousands more remain missing. And now the work of burying the dead is underway. ABC's James Longman is just back from Venezuela.
They're counting the dead in Venezuela tonight, but many don't have names. Hundreds buried in these mass graves, killed in the devastating double quake that hit 2 weeks ago today. The graves dug by volunteers because, as we saw, the government's response has been dangerously lacking.
It doesn't feel like there's much government coordination here. Yes, there are rescue teams, but really it's a lot of people doing it for themselves. These areas are not being cordoned off. There are checkpoints, the police and the military are on the streets, but when it comes to these sites in particular, the government's not here.
More than 3,600 are confirmed dead, among them 9 Americans, but thousands more are missing. The country has relied almost entirely on foreign emergency assistance, like the $310 million from the US, as well as rescue teams to help find survivors. But they, like most international teams, are now gone. And while aid is still coming in, many areas are still without power, water, or food.
Our thanks to James. Former University of Michigan staffer Paige Shiver is suing the school for records related to its investigation into its former football coach. Shiver has said that her relationship with Moore began consensually. She alleges he later manipulated her and trapped her into a relationship that lasted nearly 4 years. Moore was fired after the university determined he had an inappropriate relationship with Shiver. Shiver claims the university violated the Freedom of Information Act by denying requests made on her behalf to review the school's investigation findings.
Here's a man that had complete control over me, over my emotions, over my career, and he knew that, and he used it. He used it against me.
Moore was also sentenced to 18 months of probation after pleading no contest to trespassing and malicious use of a telecommunications device in connection with an incident at Shiver's home. Tonight, those powerful storms that rolled through the Northeast last week are still doing damage. Newly released body camera shows the danger of downed power lines. A vehicle became entangled in damaged wires in Monday's storms, causing an explosion. 2 Rhode Island firefighters were hurt. The incident is now under investigation. The intense heat is gripping much of the South and West at this point. Let's bring in Sam Champion to time it all out. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Lindsay, some people actually did get a break from the heat after those storms, but no one in the South has. And you're right, it's the Southeast and the Southwest. Let's dig into the Southeast because I want to show you these extreme heat warnings that are snuggled up against the coastline in Georgia and the Carolinas. When you see 111 as a heat index in Charleston, that's still brutally hot. Now look over the next 3 days. We don't break it, not there. Look down into Florida where we're back near 110 all the way through the state of Florida. Look at Louisiana as well. Look from Jackson all the way to Baton Rouge where those high index levels are. Now go west, and anywhere where you see that shade of light pink, light purple there, that's our next heat dome building from Palm Springs all the way into Phoenix. Check out the numbers in Phoenix because they don't break for 3 days. And storms, you better believe we've got storms. We've got storms that'll be building today in Colorado, Nebraska, also into Kansas. But I want you to look at that loop that goes toward the Great Lakes. That's just a lot of humidity, and that means we will fire up more storms as we get into Minnesota and also into Wisconsin. Lindsay?
All right, Sam, busy all over that map. Thanks so much. Coming up, new details on a teenager who went missing on a trip with his friends. We speak to the family attorney Ben Crump about the last time Nolan Wells was seen and why they're doing their own independent investigation. The family of Nolan Wells has now launched their own investigation after the 18-year-old college student died on a 4th of July boating trip with friends. Now authorities are asking for the public's help as they investigate the mysterious death. Our Alex Perez has the latest.
An urgent investigation to determine how 18-year-old Nolan Wells died on a boating trip with friends off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. As they await the results of the official autopsy, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office wants to hear from anyone who was on Horn Island over the 4th of July weekend.
I would urge anyone that had information or was on the island to let us interview you and take down as much information as we can to really piece together and figure out what may have happened.
Authorities say Wells' friends left the island and he stayed behind and was supposed to take a different boat back to the mainland Saturday, but never did. After a desperate search, Wells' body was found off the shore Monday. Investigators say they have no information at this time to indicate a crime was committed. And this morning, for the first time, we're seeing and hearing from Wells, who spoke with our affiliate WLOX on the day he signed to play college football.
It's truly a blessing, just being here with some of my best friends, teammates, and we're all going to college together, most of us, so it's just truly a blessing to be here.
His high school coach saying Wells was much more than an outstanding football player and that he carried himself with humility, treated others with respect, worked hard, and led by example.
Our thanks to Alex Perez for that. Joining us now is attorney Ben Crump, who's representing Nolan Wells' family. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Crump. Just from where you sit, what are the biggest unanswered questions so far about this case?
Obviously, the biggest question is what happened to Nolan Wells. I think the reason this case has caught such fire is because they see the pictures, they see the video, and they're saying, hold on, you're trying to tell us just accept this an accident and sweep it under the rug? His mother, Christine, his father, Elmo, say, no, they will not allow that to happen. His friends, his community. I mean, he was a good kid. He was beloved. He was a college athlete. He had everything going for him. And so to go on that island for 4th of July celebration and then not to come back is what is concerning everybody, especially when you hear the contradictions.
And you're conducting your own investigation. How will that differ from what the authorities are doing?
Well, one thing, we're trying to be very transparent because the family has some concerns about the state of Mississippi doing an investigation of the death of a young black man where young white students may be looked at as having some culpability. So the family is concerned about that. So we're going to have an independent autopsy. We have investigators talking to witnesses that have no alignment or no allegiance to the state. And that's important, Lindsay. When you think about Mississippi and the history of Mississippi, you know, this is the state where Emmett Till was lynched.
The Wells family, Nolan's parents, how are they coping in this moment?
Lindsay, they are in disbelief. They are in disbelief. You know, Nolan was to report back on Monday after the 4th of July to his college. That's when fall practice started. He did phenomenal. He was looking forward to getting an NIL deal with Division I football. He had everything going for them himself, and his family just can't believe that he's gone. His mother, Christina, is in constant depression, but my baby is gone. His father's trying to be strong, but obviously he's trying to explain to Nolan's younger brothers and sisters, what happened, Daddy? What happened?
Can you clarify for us what was going on with his cell phone?
Yeah, and that's something that's really troubling to his family as well. You know, the guys on the boat, they said Nolan stayed, but they took his cell phone. That's not adding up to them. The fact that then when the family gets the cell phone back, Lindsay, they're saying they are trying to understand why they're deleted messages. And so it's very concerning to them.
And we know that Nolan was a great athlete on the football field. Do we have any sense of how comfortable he was around water and boats?
You know, his father said he was an elite athlete, that he prided himself on his physical prowess. He said that his son could swim, and so they're just not accepting that Nolan drowned accidentally.
Beyond the headlines, have the Wells family said how they would like Nolan to be remembered?
Yeah, everybody, not only his parents, but the whole community, his teachers, his coaches, the people at his college, they're saying he was just a great guy. Always trying to be supportive, be encouraging, wanted to make the world a better place. His mother talked about his smile, and she's like, she doesn't know when she's ever gonna smile again.
Mr. Crump, we thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Coming up, our Deborah Roberts sits down with actor Dwayne Johnson about his starring role in the new live-action film, Moana. Dwayne Johnson is returning as the demigod Maui in Moana, but this time he's going beyond the voice and bringing the character to life in live action. And Johnson says this was about so much more than bringing a fresh take to the movie. ABC's Deborah Roberts sat down with him.
Something really special about Hawaii, isn't it?
There is. I always feel like, and I always tell people who come here, the moment you get off the plane, you can feel that aloha spirit.
I do. For Dwayne Johnson, art is imitating life, bringing him home to Hawaii. A powerful cultural connection he holds dear. You are stepping back into these big shoes. It's one thing to give it your voice. Now you're giving it flesh and blood.
I'm not going on a mission with some mortal. When it's the live action version, it's real bones, it's real human beings, and this one was really special, Deborah.
Johnson returning as demigod Maui, a role he originated in 2016.
Gods have given me a boat!
You're shirtless the entire movie. Is that a lot
You're
of pressure?
welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And we thank you.
You're welcome. It's always pressure. Everything is pressure.
That hair, a head full of hair.
It made me think, with the right hairstyle, I look pretty good. Like,
Curly hair, too,
just
a head full.
beautiful and lavish, and I don't know if I've laughed harder consistently over the days that when that first trailer was launched and people were shocked to see me with hair. My grandfather had beautiful hair. He was always so well groomed.
He credits his grandfather, professional wrestler High Chief Peter Maivia, for his athletic skills and a deep family bond.
I felt like over 10 years ago when they approached me to play Maui, and we started putting the character on its feet, and then it became very clear and evident, oh, this is a sign. Are you ready to be the hero?
Let's go save the world. There's some powerful themes: ancestral heritage, believing in yourself, and healing wounds of the past.
This idea about not letting the past define you, and then overcoming the odds of that. The other one, which is this idea of, do you know who you are? And who you want to be, and what you're willing to do to get there.
Well, I want to ask you about that because the grandma says that in the film, your scars sort of help reveal who you are. It was really powerful. And you've talked about your scars and your difficulties growing up.
Years ago, we were on the other side of the island where times were hard and tough. Our rent was $180 a week. And eventually, we couldn't pay it for weeks. The landlord, who was wonderful, his name was Ken, and he kept letting us slide, let it slide, until finally he said, I can't let you slide anymore. You're gonna have an eviction notice when you come home.
And this is you and your mom.
This is me and my mom, and I just turned 15. And I just remember that was her rock bottom. But I do remember thinking, I would do anything to make sure this never happens again.
One of Hollywood's busiest actors, The Rock is famously open about his life, recently sharing a deeply personal health scare. Had a fear that you might have testicular cancer?
My publicist doesn't like when I say this, but by nature, you can ask me whatever you want.
You're an open book.
I did. I thought for a moment that I had testicular cancer. I felt a lump and it was very painful. I tried to be disciplined and not Google myself, and see what was going on.
Because you see the worst?
But at the same time, it was still very real. Fortunately, it wasn't that. However, but what it did, it acted like a forcing mechanism for me in that check your body, listen to your body, but also jump on it.
His struggles, Johnson says, have given him a deeper appreciation for his success and stable family life. Did you envision this kind of success?
No, I didn't. That's my honest, real, raw answer is I didn't. Now I'm going to share something with you that it's my truth. I just didn't want to be broke. We were broke here.
What's been the greatest honor for you?
I would say that a couple of years ago, I began releasing things from my life and in my mind that I thought I really needed. The answer to what's important is really in front of me. And that's my little girls, that's my wife, that's my big girl, Simone. And so, the things that have been the greatest honor, number one, to deliver a Moana that is anchored in culture. And in my way, it's a way to give back. And this was meaningful to me, was the Golden Globe nomination for Smash Machine.
You happy?
I've never been asked that. I am so happy. I'm happy now. I'm happy because I'm at peace. And I've worked hard at understanding what peace means.
Our thanks to Deborah Roberts and The Rock for that conversation. That is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Have a great night.